Hello. For Chapter 8 proportions, there's a few problems that I'll show you with the calculator. First one, in a survey of 135 randomly selected gun owners, it's found that 78% of them said they owned a gun primarily for protection. Find the margin of error and 95% confidence interval for the percentage of all gun owners who would say that they own a gun primarily for protection. Round all answers to decimal places. Answers for the interval will be given in decimal form, so you need to multiply by 100 because they wanted the percent. If they want the decimal, then you wouldn't need to multiply. So be careful in the answers which one they're looking for. I would find the confidence interval first, and then margin of error, as we did before, you subtract your two values and divide by 2. Now to find this confidence interval using the calculator, let's see, 135 and 78. We go to calculator, and this one was a proportion. So we go into stats, over to test, but now our interval is a proportion, which I need to go over one more. It's in tests. I said test, but I didn't go over far enough. But proportions is in the next group, so you have to go down. I think it's A, but I can't remember. Yeah. Okay. So notice we have one sample proportion, or if you have two different things, we have one, so we want to go up one. We want this one. Sample proportion interval. And then we said, I believe that's what we had, 78, 135. And we want a 95% confidence interval. There it is. 78, 135, 95% confidence interval. And calculate. And there's your interval. Now remember, we have to multiply these by 100. That's why I had 49.446 and 66.109. Right here. Now to find the margin of error, you just subtract them and divide by 2. In the next example, giving a test to a group of students, the grades and gender are summarized below. And so this would be an A on an exam, a B, and a C. This is the totals going across. These were the males, the females. So males with A's was 17 and females with A's was 18, and so on. Let P represent the percentage of all male students who would receive an A on this test using a 99.5% confidence interval to estimate P to 3 decimal places. Okay, so again, it's this one's asking for decimal. Trilinear. I wrote this one wrong. They want the less than P less than. So they want 3 parts rather than the interval. And anyways, for the all male students, so that means we're only using the male, so it's out of 37 who got an A. So it's 17 out of 37, and we want a 99.5% confidence interval. Going to the calculator. Second, oh, you don't need the second, just stats, over to test. We want 1 proportion z interval. Enter. On this one we said 17 out of 37 because it was just the males. 17 out of 37, and we wanted 995. So this would be your, now this one said to leave it as a decimal. So it's 0.22948 and 0.68944. So that was our interval. It also said trilinear rather than an equate or a interval. It wanted the trilinear inequality. That also tells you to have inequality signs. State the point estimate for the population of all male students who would receive a grade of A on the test. For the point estimate, that's just the middle value before you added and subtracted your error. So to find the middle, you add the two values together and divide by 2. That's what we're doing right here. So we just take these two to find the middle, add them together, and divide by 2. The error is the part that got added and subtracted. One way of finding it, like we did before, subtract them and divide by 0. Another way is to take the upper bound and subtract p. And that's what I did here. I took the upper bound, 0.689, and I subtracted the p-value, 0.459, and I got 0.23. There's a lot of these questions on there, and it's just using your percents, because if I keep getting samples, I am 99.5% confident that the true proportion will be in here. It will be here 99.5% of the time. The other 0.5% of the time, it won't. So every time I get a sample of 87 students, it will be between here. So this value would be 99.9, and this one would be 0.05, 0.05, because it's a percent, not the decimal. So 99.5% of the time it will land in there, and 0.05% of the time it will not. For the sample sizes, there was a lot of videos online that are really good, but if you still have questions, let me know. But these videos should help a lot. Thank you. Stop recording.